Hey y'all, welcome to the Full Circle Moment series. I'm your host, Tanisha Miss T. Morrison, owner and visionary of the Empower Her Experience, a platform to help BIPOC women on their personal and professional journeys to greatness. During this Full Circle Moment series, I'll be connecting with women across the world, sharing their incredible stories, real, raw, and unscripted. To kick off the series, I have LaKeisha Braxton Asberry. She is the visionary trailblazer recognized as the founder and CEO of Bloom Where You Are Planted. This empowering women's ministry has flourished from its roots as Naimani Incorporated. Her mission is to guide women of diverse ages towards self sufficiency, embodying a compassionate and unwavering supportive resource. Beyond her transformative work in women's ministry, LaKeisha dedicates her expertise as a registered behavioral therapist, extending a guiding hand to children and families touched by autism. Her journey began over a decade ago with the remarkable tenure as a para educator for children with autism within the Long Beach Unified School District. Her 7 years as a skilled coach operator for Long Beach Transit further attested to her commitment to fostering a positive change. A devout believer in answering God's call, LaKeisha is fervently involved in various nonprofit initiatives, a testament to her unwavering obedience to divine guidance. This life journey, underpinned by faith, resonates deeply with her mantra, walk it like I talk it, a reminder of the authenticity she embodies. LaKeisha's spiritual evolution started at the Rima Church, where the teaching of overseer Dr. Mark Lucky ignited her spiritual path. This transformative experience propelled her into a profound connection with God, encompassing worship and discipleship. This journey led her to discover her true calling as a banner bearer, using the language of dance and the waving of flags and banners to worship and communicate with the divine. Previously, LaKeisha was dedicated to the congregation at Jericho Missionary Baptist Church under the enlightened leadership of Pastor Dr. Anthony Smith and Minister Paula Adams. Her engagement spans various facets, including her pivotal role as a leader in the praise dance ministry, her service as a church secretary, and her involvement in the leadership council. Currently, LaKeisha and her husband, Shawnee, are active members of New Beginnings Christian Ministry in Stockbridge, Georgia, under the leadership of Pastor Lamoris Zan Stanford and Lady Chantel Stanford, where she continues to serve and grow in Christ. LaKeisha's presence radiates positivity and spiritual resonance throughout the church community. She is the author of The Path to Discernment, Her Prayers, Her Triumphs, Her Journey, Her Story, and the lead author in the anthology book Full Circle Moments, When God Shows You Before He Shows You. A proud mother of three remarkable children, James, Imani, and Monye, LaKeisha is a loving wife residing in Hampton, Georgia. Her journey is a testament to the transformative power of faith, love, and service, a guiding light inspiring others to bloom where they are planted and embrace God's divine vision for their lives. Welcome, LaKeisha.
Hey, thank you for having
Hey. Yes, of course,
me.
girl. I was on that bio, like, let's do it. It's very
Right. I'm
moving,
like, oh,
very touching. That's you.
that's
That's you.
all me.
That's all you, honey. I
Right.
love
I'm
it.
listening. It's different when you hear.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's always
It's,
different when
it's
you hear
different
it.
when you hear it.
But
Yes.
those are all your accolades. Those are all yours. Take that in.
Thank you. Right. I'm like, I read it,
So,
but I never heard it.
well, I'm happy to be able to share that bio with the world. Y'all heard it here first.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so you and we've been connected for a few years now. You came to me in, I believe, 2019 to work on your first book, The Path to Discernment. And now
hmm
we're like sister friends at this at this
Right.
place in our life. And I'm very, very thank you to have you in my life. For those that are unfamiliar with your first book, The Path to Discernment, can you share a bit about it and the purpose behind
Yes, the path to discernment is one of the seasons that one of the waiting seasons that God had me in from year 2017 to the year 2020. So it was a 4-year journey. I didn't know it at the time, but I felt, that I was preparing myself for my kingdom spouse.
it? Okay.
And during these 4 years, it allowed it allowed God to prune me
Mhm.
and grow me.
Mhm.
Um, he, what do I, let me see, developed me in this cocoon season, especially in 2020 when with the pandemic, we were in quarantine. And so there was a lot of things going on in the world at that time that we didn't understand. So it caused me to get closer to God. And
Yeah.
that's when I added 2020, because before it was 2017, we didn't have a end year. And then
Mhm.
later I came, with 2020. But they're basically in the book, it's basically the first 4 chapters is my story, my walk. And
Okay.
the remainder chapters are they're titled and they're devotional pages, and they're my actual journal entries and prayers. Um, and then there's space where the reader can meditate on the prayers or the journal entries, and then write their own thoughts. So it's not a book where you just pick it up and read it and put it down like, oh yeah, I read that. No,
Yeah.
this is a devotional, and it's a tool, it's a resource. You can carry it around, and when you feel led or you feel like you need some encouragement, pick it up, look through the table of contents. Oh, let me go to this page and see what this is. And I
Yeah.
guarantee that every time you pick up that book or open that book, it's going to be something that you need to hear in that moment. That's at least that's my prayer for anybody that picks up this book, is like they'll be blessed in that moment every time they open that book. So,
So you said two things that I want to have you just share a little bit more about. So one of those things
mm-hmm,
where you said you were kind of like in a cocoon. So if anyone knows, the
mm-hmm,
butterfly analogy, that part where um it's in the cocoon, it's going through the chrysalis, it's going through those tough times of having to use pressure to get out and be able to be this beautiful butterfly with wings, soaring and flying around the world and making people feel happy when they see it.
right.
Can you talk a little bit about your that season of this 4 year span?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I say that, like you said, the butterfly analogy. So, and when you're in the cocoon process, like, um, you're in this place, it's in solitude, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of during that time, I had to cut off some relationships. I had
Mm-hmm.
to become just kind of selfish but selfless,
Yes,
because
I
God,
love that.
because yes, during that time God was developing me, and I didn't want anything to try to come against that, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like I didn't want to miss it.
Yeah,
So I had to get focused. So a lot of things I had to let go of, like I said, some relationships,
relationship
some yes, I had to
habits.
just habits, yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, to get a clear mind. Um, to where it was just me and God. And I felt like a cocoon because, like I said, we were in quarantine. So I'm in the house. Now I'm in here with these flags and I'm reading and I'm like, he was really developing me. So yeah, and it was extremely vital that I really didn't have much interaction with the outside world,
Yeah.
so I didn't watch the news. It was just, I was just there with me and God, and I allowed him to do the work in me.
Yes.
Uh,
I
yeah.
There's a period in my life as well, and I think it's an important people in many people's life where I call it when God strips you naked,
Mm-hmm.
and you are exactly how you came into the world, you know,
Yeah.
precious flaws and all, what have you. But you allow for your mind, body, and spirit to just be so that you can hear everything
Mm.
around
Yes. Yes, that's
you, you know?
exactly.
Yeah. So the second thing that you mentioned was in this devotional, they can kind of go through the table of contents and decide, you know, what they need to pick up for that day. And I love devotionals. I use one of Yala Van Zant's devotionals that I've been using for a while now. But devotionals are something that, like you said, you can kind of lean on for it to give you some food for thought. Um,
Mm.
for that day, and sometimes it's like right on point, like, wow, I didn't even know that, this was going to speak to me in this way. Can
Right.
you share a few of those topics that are in those table of contents?
Sure. I just happen to have a book right here.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you grabbed it.
I know. So you said the topics from the table of contents, right?
Yeah, just share a few of those topics that you feel are some common themes that people may end up needing. What are those common themes, like whether it's pain or, just share a little bit about what you have in your book that you felt was important, topic, subject, if you will, for those people who may go out and buy the book.
Okay. Um, keep keeping your eye on the prize, which is chapter 8.
Okay.
That's one, yeah, because when we're going through a waiting period or this cocoon seat, whatever it is that you want to call it, it's very important that you keep your eye on the prize. Okay, I have this vision, I have this dream, I know what it is that I'm reaching for, but
Mm-hmm.
life happens and we sometimes get thrown off and
Yeah.
we
Throwing
forget.
off our course.
And we
Yeah.
forget what the focus is. But just like with full circle moments, like I said, when God shows you something or he tells you something and it's in your spirit, in your heart, in your mind, and you know that this is what you're supposed to do, then don't lose focus. Keep your eye on that prize, write it down. Um, Whatever you got to do not to forget it, because it's easy to you be like, oh, it's taking too long, this is
Yeah.
hard, it don't even look like what God showed me, so I'm gonna just give up. No, don't do it. Keep your eyes on the prize.
And keeping your eyes on the
um
prize aligns with that, remembering your why.
yes, absolutely, yes, that's good. Was that in your chapter,
No.
remembering? No. Oh.
That's just something for me. It's just a life mantra for
Okay,
me to just
right, maybe
constantly
I
go
just
back
heard you.
and remember my why.
Right. Let me see.
And y'all see, this is unscripted, so she don't just have
Right.
her boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go there, because I just really like for these interviews to be very transparent and genuine.
Yes. I'm gonna actually do two, and I'll
Okay.
just put them together. So chapter 5 is weathering the storm. And then
Mm.
chapter 11 is patience and discernment.
Mm.
So
Those are two
yeah,
good ones.
those two go together because when you're weathering the storm, you have to have patience and discernment.
Yes.
You have to stay focused. Like whatever whatever it is that's standing in your way of hearing, of focusing, then I removed it.
Yeah.
Because okay, if you're weathering a storm, you're going through something that's a distraction, and you gotta get through it. We're passing through. That storm is passing through. We're not staying in it. So you have to have patience and discernment, because you have to think clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to use your discernment to know, okay, I'm not gonna go left, I'm gonna go right. So, and then even if you do go the other way in the opposite direction, it's okay. But if you have that discernment and that patience, then eventually you'll get right back on track, and it won't take long. But
Yeah.
like, again, you just, those distractions that are not aligned with what your focus is,
Mm-hmm.
then it's no good for you. Like
Right.
you it's, yeah.
And it's interesting that you did put those two together, because when I think about, weathering the storm, it's like all chaos. A
Yeah.
storm is disrupting everything that you have going, you know,
Right.
and being able to kind of step back and say, I know there's um, turbulence and, things pulling me this way and that way. And I'm kind of now in a place where you you want to think like frantically, but like you said, having that patience, having that discernment to kind of check in with self and say, how do I step back and bring a calm to the chaos around me? So I like that you
Absolutely.
did pair those two. So with your
Yes.
first literary project, um, it came out about 3 years ago now. Is it?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
about
what
three.
has
Sorry.
it's okay. What has been the feedback that you've gotten from it? The impact that you've heard that people have gotten from your book?
Oh my goodness. My a friend of mine, she's in the mental health field,
Okay.
and she told me, when I talked to her, she said, I got three books on my desk. She said, I got the Bible, some other book, and your book.
Wow.
And I was like, oh wow, I'm up there with the Bible.
The Bible? Wow.
Right. And she
That says a
said
lot.
that, yes. And she said she had a client in her office, and she said the client reminded her of me during this season that I was in.
Hmm.
And
And
she
how so?
said she told um because she was going through a toxic relationship. She didn't see her worth. She she was just kind of stuck in a place where she needed some guidance.
Hmm. Okay.
And she said she reminded me of you, and she said she gave her the book. She told her about the book, and then she said, I'm going to give you this book. I want you to do the work, but I guarantee that when you're done, you're going to want to share it with someone else. And
Hmm.
she said, but you got to give me mine back, and you got to get your own.
Yeah, because it's going to be worth it to buy it and maybe even gift it to someone else. I truly do
Yes,
believe that.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Uh,
go ahead.
uh, yeah, just recently I was, when I flew back here, a lady sat on the bus with, I mean, not the bus, on the plane. I sat down, and before that lady butt can even hit her seat, we began talking.
Wow.
And she was talking as she was sitting. And it was like she wanted to say so much. But as she sat down, I was like, this lady kind of crazy, because she was laughing to herself. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh Lord. And kind of like I almost put up this wall, like, okay, and just pray. But she was listening to something. And so when she sat down, we just started talking, and we got on one subject. We talked about the book, the Full Circle Moment books. And then I started talking to her about the Path to Discernment. And she was like, oh my God, I want that book. I need to get my sister the book. And I was like, of course. I said, but I don't have any on me, but I can, when we get off the plane, you can meet me at baggage claim, and because I have some in my suitcase. And she was like, okay. So I pulled up my computer bag just so I can show her the Full Circle Moment book.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a book, The Path to Discernment was in my bag too, and I didn't even know it.
Look at that divine
And
assignment, honey.
yes, yes.
Mm.
And she said, but look, so I opened the book, and she was telling me a little bit, but I didn't want her to talk too much because I was trying to write in her book. This is a
Mm-hmm.
stranger. I don't really know what to write. So I just allowed God to use me, and I began writing. And then when I started reading to her and showing her the scriptures that God was showing me, when I finished sharing that with her, her story, it all made sense. She was like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. She said, I wasn't even supposed to sit here. She said, I let the girl back there sit in my seat so she can sit with her
No
friend.
way.
Yes.
That's a divine assignment. God said, I'm going to use you right now. Before you land to where you're supposed to be used, I'm going to use you right here.
Right
And
now.
yeah, yeah.
And I explained to my Bible study group that whole trip, we're learning about revive, renew, and restore.
Okay.
And that whole trip, starting from the book signing all the way to meeting that lady, it was all three of those. And I felt revived and renewed when I landed here. So much that when the other day I was getting dressed, and my husband and I were about to leave, and I'm getting dressed. I pulled my dress over my head, but when I pulled my dress down, he was talking, but he looked at me like it was a new person, like that was his
Wow.
first time seeing me. Yeah, I was like, and it felt so good when he
Yeah.
looked at. I mean, I know my husband loves me, and he
Mm-hmm.
knows me, but that look that he gave me, he stumbled over his words, and he was like, "Oh,
Wow.
like yeah," like he has saw me for the first
In a
time,
new
and I just,
light. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just right now, I'm so full of joy, and it's just excited about what God is doing,
And I'm
moving.
excited about it too because, I've not been a part of your previous journey, but we connected so that others can learn about your journey. But I feel like I've been a part of um, the journey to enjoying what you have become. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
so I'm just so grateful. And speaking of your husband, because that was a good segue into um,
right.
full circle moments when God shows you before He shows you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so your first book, you talked about really stripping yourself down of everything that was going on, all the chaos, all the whirlwinds, just everything, toxicity, past relationships, and things like that, and literally saying, I'm going to focus on me, um, selfishly, if you will, but
Yeah,
selfless, being selfless.
right.
Um, and then full circle moments happen. And for those of you that's going to go get the path to discernment, please do. So talk about full circle moments because you're chapter 1 in full circle moments, the anthology, when God shows you before He shows you, and your chapter title is 222, the path to my soul mate. So talk a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about why the title, why the anthology, and how it came to be.
Okay. So the path to discernment was the season that led me to the path to my soulmate.
Mm.
Remember how I mentioned I was God was preparing me. He was doing like having me take care of my self-care and just preparing me to be a wife, really. Like I was cooking more and making space in my closet, and I had no idea who this guy was. Who I just knew he was somewhere, and when he
He was
came, I
coming.
was gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Got my, cleaned up some bills and make it look a little nice. So
Yeah, yeah.
pay
And
some debt off.
I love that, but we'll get into
But
that. But I do love that point that you just made. But go ahead.
yes, and so um yeah, so I figured I knew that I had done the work, and I even got to a point to where I had it was taking so long that I was just like, well, maybe it's not for me. And I had not really threw the idea out, but just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna just focus on me and not even think about that. I'm telling you, I had a whole Pinterest board. I planned out my wedding to the T, me and God, and
Even though that doubt was
I
there,
had
it sounded
everything.
like you still had some hope.
I still had some faith, yeah, and you
Okay.
only need a little bit, but like I said previously, it when you're in that waiting season, it's hard. It's you have to have patience, and
Mm.
as soon as I started feeling that little bit of doubt trying to creep in, boom, I pull up at the airport out here to visit. I was here visiting, and 222. I was at the airport, and in front of me there was a big truck with 222 on it. 222 is significant for that is how I identify myself with my kingdom spouse, and that is Genesis chapter 2 verse 22.
Mm.
And that's when God removed the rib and gave, gave Eve to Adam, or put the rib into Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so basically, he delivered Eve to Adam. Um, so that I was like, that's me, God giving me to my husband. So 222 is that's what that means as a part of the title. And yeah, and then it happened. Like everything that I had planned with God, my way all the way down to the invitations, it was just like he proposed on Christmas. We had 2 months to execute that wedding, and it was perfect. It was everything just flowed like clockwork. It was already planned. All I had to do was delegate. It was
It
already
looks
there.
beautiful, by the way.
And
It looks very beautiful. Y'all did a very good
yes,
job
oh my
in a
God,
very short period of time. So,
a short period of time. And everybody talked about that wedding, are still talking about our wedding, saying that it was a fairy tale wedding.
mm,
It was the Beauty and the Beast. And even that, God showed me way before he told me who my spouse was, that you're gonna have a Beauty and the Beast wedding. And I'm like, you know, who's my beat? Like it didn't make sense, but I was like, okay, that'll be nice. But there has to be some type of significance to that, you telling me. And sure enough, my husband, he needed me and I needed him.
mm,
I needed that toughness and he needed that softness.
yes.
So yeah, so um we were perfect for each or we are perfect for each other. Where he lacks, I feel. Where I lack, he feels. So it's just like,
So
it's God's work.
now look, everybody had these prayers, the Sierra prayer, the Russell prayer, the everybody prayer.
Right.
But you didn't put your prayer into a place of like, idolizing someone. You know,
No.
it wasn't, oh, I want to be like this person or that person or so on and so forth. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some people do, you know, they are inspired by their great grandparents or their grandparents who've been married all these years through the test of time and things like that. So, you know, we do appreciate wanting to have that type of love, how, you know, our grandparents and so on and so forth have. But you more so
Right.
focused on you. Like what was your process of prayer going into your waiting period?
It was God's will. I prayed for God's will for my life. Um, because all these years I've been doing it this way, my way, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't right. Like I was not doing it. Something I was doing was wrong. So I surrendered. I was frustrated, and I was like, Lord, just whatever. I know you said you had plans for me, and I know that's not it. So
Yeah.
what plans do you have for me?
Yeah.
And I'm all in. I'm all in. Whatever it is, I throw my hands up, and I'm like, take the wheel. Literally, Jesus, take the wheel. And that's what I did. And
Surrendering.
yes, yes. And even when he connected me with my husband, he was not what I was used to.
How so?
God gave, um, he was on the outside. I was used to that thug, man,
Mm-hmm.
toughness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on the outside, my husband, he's not like that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not to me. He's he's loving, he's kind. He's the man that I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to accept it. I didn't know how to accept him open the doors for me. Like I go
Mm.
straight for the door open. He's like, let me, holding door, just being a gentleman, and I
Yeah.
wasn't used to that. So I wouldn't have chose him if it was up to me.
And
But
it's
I
so
kept
interesting.
myself. Uh-huh.
It's interesting that you say that because a lot of times you hear um, women, if you will, they're looking for a certain type of person,
Type.
and
I have a
because
type.
you're not finding those certain qualities, if you will, in the person that you're, you know, going on dates with or whatever, you're like, nope, next, nope, next, nope,
Right.
next, you know. So it it's interesting for to hear, you know, although I wasn't used to this, like I was open to it. I actually enjoyed it. I
Yes.
actually realized like, oh, this is actually what I deserve. Um, so one shout out to your husband because he's doing a wonderful job with keeping a smile on your face, and you two look so
Yes.
happy. What did he think about the chapter?
Oh, I don't even know if he read the chapter yet, but I did let him. He read the dedication, and it brought a tear to his eye. Like,
Aw.
yeah, it did. He's gonna kill me, but but I see a different a side of him that nobody else sees, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband, he's such a sweetheart. And I'm just so grateful for him. Like he's tough, but
Yeah.
he had, and I feel that what I was looking for, or the type that I had before, it was
Mm-hmm.
like that toughness on the outside, and I'm big. It made me feel like I was protected,
Mm-hmm.
but God showed me in my husband, it's the same thing, but it's real. Like
It's
it's
real.
it's
It's not
kind of
in a
hard to explain.
toxic masculinity, if you will, way.
Yeah, like puffed up, he just
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
chill, but don't test me, like
Yeah,
that.
of course. Of course.
Yes, and I love that. I feel more protected that way. I don't feel like he's going to get me in no trouble. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's for me.
Yes. Yes.
He's for me. I had a list what I wanted
We
in a
all have
husband.
that list. We all have that list, girl.
Yes,
And we got to
but
sometimes
you
talk
gotta
that
leave
list
it.
out, honey.
Yes. Sometimes you gotta leave some space in
Yeah.
that list. You can't just be stuck on that list because
Cannot.
what God did for me, yes, what he did is he gave me things in my husband that I didn't even know I needed.
Yeah.
Like finances. My husband is more, he's more smart with money, where I used to want to spend money. I'm gonna make it back. I'll spend it. I'm spend it. But
Yeah.
now us
There's some
together, it
discipline.
balances us out. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Somebody
So,
has to be disciplined with the money, okay? Somebody.
right?
We can't just be running up the tab and the tab's not coming back that fast, all right?
Right. So definitely he's teaching me that, and and I'm teaching him that it's okay to treat yourself every now and then, so it balances
The
us
balance.
out. So
Yes.
yeah,
So
definitely.
there's a section in your chapter where you talk about your waiting season, and you touched on it a few times during this interview. What is something you would give someone, advice, if you will, suggestions, if you will, when they're going through their waiting season, and you mention you have that doubt, or you kind of just throw your hands up and say, tired of waiting. What what would you suggest they do so that they kind of sit still for a little bit longer?
That would be Praising in a Painful Place, chapter 7.
Mm, okay, and that's from the
You
path to
gotta
discernment.
from the path to discernment. Yes,
Yeah.
praising in a painful place. Yes. Sometimes I would just turn on my gospel music and turn it all the way up and sing to the top of my lungs until I couldn't hear that doubt anymore.
Okay.
Like, you have to find your own way of repenting, changing your thoughts, because your mind it goes your you it goes, you can be happy one minute, sad the next, so your mind is all over the place. So you have to be focused enough, and to be able to say, when you get that doubtful thought, those doubtful thoughts, you say, no, you're not going to be able to do this. You got to be able to go into your mind and be like, yes, I am, and really get that thought out of your head,
Yeah.
whatever it takes for you, because everybody, is not going to be able to scream their way through it. Whatever
Right.
it is that's going to help you to repent and change the way you're thinking, you got to become an expert at that, because the closer you get to it, the more doubt. And it's going to be like at that moment to where you say, okay, I give up. I can't do this no more. That's when God steps in.
Yes.
But if you give up too soon, then you're going to miss it. So you have to be able to, like, okay, hold on just a little bit longer. Come on.
Hold
Like,
on. Just a
yes.
little. Okay. So
Just a little
listen,
bit longer.
I appreciate you so much for, just giving us your time, talking about the path to discernment. And discerning thoughts are something that some, people struggle with at times. Deciding what's good, what's bad, is there any gray or what have you? How do I pivot? Do I want to pivot because then one, foot is stuck in place and things like that. Um, but the path to discernment, and then that full circle moment to the path to your soulmate, is just very inspiring. I'm so grateful for your story. I think that it gives women and men, hope. from your perspective, from your husband's perspective, and we're gonna get him on one of these interviews, okay? Because
Yes.
we're gonna hear his story and his prayers and his waiting season and things like that. So that's coming. I'm speaking that
Yes.
into existence. All right.
We gonna definitely has a story.
Yes. So we're gonna get that story about him when he's ready and when he thinks Lord said it's time for him to inspire them brothers
Right.
that needs to hear his story as well. Um, what is something that you want to leave with the people that will stumble across or intentionally tune in to your segment?
Um, just learn how to wait well.
Mm,
Wait well. Whatever that is for you, do the work on yourself. Put most of your energy. I know, life happens, but you got to do the work on yourself.
yeah.
And yeah, that's the only thing that I can say is, just learn how to wait well and have patience.
What
Patience.
is something that you hope people get from Full Circle Moments from your contributing authors of the book? What can
Yes.
they look forward to?
Yes, definitely. Full circle moments, reading all the stories, the full circle moments of each author blessed my life tremendously. Like, there's miracles in that book, and
Yes.
it will increase your faith. I'm telling you. Like, you will look at your situation differently, and because it's always somebody. You would rethink your situation. It's like, wow, what if I was going through that, So it allows you to rethink your situation and then give you hope to come full circle that you're going to come out of whatever it is that you're going through. So it's
Mm.
definitely some encouraging stories in that book. And I hope anybody that reads this book is blessed as much as I was reading them. So yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. Thank you for that.
Encourage.
And
Yes.
lastly, what's next for LaKeisha Braxton Asberry professionally?
Professionally, I cannot wait to do these workshops. I cannot wait to teach this how to wait well.
Mm,
I can't wait. Um, yeah, that's it. And then my husband and I, we have a trucking company that we are it's new. So
mm-hmm.
we're expanding. We're excited to expand and get out there and well, we've already started. It's doing a good job.
Okay.
But yeah, that's us. Bloom where you are planted trucking. Bloom where you are. We're blooming all over the place. So
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your story. I appreciate you encouraging other women. There's a total of 11 authors in this book who share their story. I am one of them. I'm also chapter 3. We'll get to
yes.
that another episode. Um, but I thank you for allowing God to use you and then encouraging other women or giving them the opportunity to allow God to
Right.
use them because so many of the stories that's in this book, there's so many people out there that need to hear them so that they have something to encourage them to keep going, to keep faith, and know that they're not alone.
Right. Right.
So thank you again for kicking off the Full Circle Moments series. Again, we have Miss LaKeisha Braxton Asberry. Check out her books. Check out her platform. If you are a lady in waiting, or you need to be, and you don't know, how to even get into that place of being in your waiting season, reach out to LaKeisha. She's there for you. Her series is coming out soon. So follow her so that you're notified. Um, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And I thank you so
Yeah.
much for tuning in.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Have a good day. All right, this was fun. Thank you.